Well, needless to say more, it was a very historic night. That is just an understatement, by the way. Arizona State gets their first ever win against an SEC team in program history. Now, they have gotten wins against Missouri and Oklahoma, but at the time they were not members of the SEC. They were members of the Big 12 at the time, and now ASU's in the Big 12, and they get their first win against an SEC team. Caleb Bushy, Matthew Jacobson here on the C-Trace Sports postgame report. Arizona State gets the historic dub over the Mississippi State Bulldogs in the first ever meeting between these two schools. Matt, your thoughts on this game? Just 2 weeks into the season, the first touchdown of the game was a 17-yard rush from quarterback Sam Leavitt himself, and from start to finish, ASU had the lead the entire the game. They were in the driver's seat, and they really, really did a great job.
They did, and ASU 27-3 was the halftime score. It was dominance. It was a bit of a tale of two halves. ASU dominated the first half. Mississippi State dominated the second half. Fun fact, both teams had a 3-point half. Interesting there. But the fact that ASU came out, they set the tone. First touchdown, they did not get off the driver's seat for at least the first half. That's what they needed to do. They had a little bit to prove this week to show that last week you can carry it over. And they did. A couple things to clean up at the end of the game, but they got the dub. That's all that matters.
A dub is a dub, but it wasn't perfect game because I would say there was at least 3 good quarters of football they played. They did get a little sloppy and a little sleepy in the third quarter. Your thoughts on those weak points by ASU that they definitely need to work on, especially with these next 2 games being entirely on the road?
I'm concerned because this team has shown for a time they can play with a lead, and they obviously, when there is some adversity, they can come back, but you want to know that they have that, is it mental toughness is the correct way to say it, to be able to play consistently. Even Coach Dillingham said it in the post-game press conference, they need to be able to go back and forth with these teams. Got some things to clean up, a little bit concerned. Next couple of weeks we'll definitely see which direction this is going to go.
Well, we'll see what happens. Now, looking at the player of the game, I'd be shocked if there's any disagreement from you who I think the player of the game is tonight. He had a very good performance last week against Wyoming. Tonight, he really proved his moment. He's always said he's wanted to work up to the NFL, and Kenny Dillingham has always said he wants to be a Sunday player, but he had not gained that improvement yet. Tonight, he gained that improvement, and like Dillingham said, played like a Sunday player tonight. That is running back Cam Skattebo. Scored it out to 262 yards tonight. And the leading yard scorer of the game, Skattebo, was just absolutely unstoppable against the Bulldogs.
To try to put it in perspective, late in the second quarter, Skattebo had 103 rushing yards. Mississippi State had -5. He was the team. He was the offense. And Coach did mention a little bit that maybe they over-relied on him a bit, but he always wants the ball. He carried it as every bit they needed. That last drive, he came in clutch. There's no argument. Cam Skattebo was the offensive team today.
Do you think Skattebo was kind of put under a lot of pressure, since Dillingham even said, yeah, I think we relied on you too much with running the ball, but it worked out in most of those cases, especially on those third down plays. Do you think that was a little too much pressure for Skattebo, especially in that third quarter?
Not today, but I do think if they try that again, it's going to be a little bit concerning. So, one-time thing, great game for him. Maybe not again next week.
Well, maybe something to work on. All right, let's go into the post-game press conference room, take a look at a few clips from Kenny Dillingham and the players on tonight's dub over the Bulldogs.
These guys, these guys stepped up to the challenge all week, and they did a great job in practice all week. We repped and repped and repped and repped, both the 4-down and the 3-down front. So we were ready for both of them. But I'm always expecting to have it in my backpack, but it's not an every week thing, and this week it was. So I was excited to do that. I'm glad I was able to do that. I'm glad these guys trust me to be able to do that. And yeah, I love it. I love this game.
Yeah, our guys have been working hard, and the inside run's been a bloodbath all spring ball, all fall camp. And when our guys are in the locker room saying, let's make this inside run period, right, that's when you know, like, there's a mindset about it. And I think they did that. They played hard. They played with a passion. And, we ran the ball. We needed to get hit in the face. We needed to have to get back up. We got really comfortable. We drove the ball 8 minutes on the first drive. You look at how we won the middle 8. We had the ball with about 6 minutes left to go in the first half. We drove down, scored to essentially end the half, 7 points, get the ball back, take 8.5 minutes off the clock, get 3 points. We had the ball consecutively for about 14 game minutes there in the middle of the game, and that's unbelievable management by our offensive coaches and our offensive staff to keep their offense off the field for that long and get 10 points. But for us to get hit back in the mouth and then have to get up, that's what I was proud of. And we got up with a vengeance, and we needed that because we're not going to have 17, 24-point leads every halftime, right? We're going to be in some dogfights, and we got to be able to go back and forth with counter punches. And I think today we finally had to punch back.
Well, there you have it. That's Kenny Dillingham. And Matt, you know, this is the last home game, not just for a while, the last home game of the month. ASU will not be back here until October. Their next two games are entirely on the road, both in the state of Texas. First against Texas State next week, which is going to be on a Thursday game. They have very little time to prepare for that game. And then the following week against, which will be their first official conference game in the Big 12. ASU, this was not the perfect win tonight. A dub is a dub. What do you think the mentality has got to be for Kenny Dillingham and this squad going into Texas next week?
I think it'll be as simple as get back to work. The defense is doing everything you need them to do right now. Obviously, the letting off the gas pedal a little bit, you don't want to see that. You want to see that cleaned up a little bit. Diversifying the offense again. Week 1, I thought it was a good mix between passing and running. This week, it was very run heavy, so get back into getting the quarterback involved again, but just get back to work. I think that's all they need to do right now.
Well, certainly looking forward to it. We will, of course, have all the coverage here on C-Trace Sports for ASU football. However, this will be our last time here in Tempe, at least for the month, as we will be back here on October 5th when Arizona State hosts the Kansas Jayhawks in their first official home opponent in conference for the Big 12. But that is going to do it tonight. For Matthew Jacobson, I'm Caleb Bishop saying good night once again in Tempe for C-Trace Sports.